Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video that I'm putting out tonight is going to be quite the eye opener when it comes to what's going on or what's going to be coming about come this election. Okay, this coming up in November. Very important presidential election. I was doing some research, and if anybody has seen any of my earlier content last year, I was doing some reactions to a channel called Hustle Bitch. Now he's got, I don't know if he's got a new channel or just changed the name, but now it's called Hustle. But he actually opened up my eyes with a lot of information when I was covering the fires in Lahaina and all that, which I haven't done any videos or any content on that lately, and I keep promising that I'm gonna get to it, and I will, because I know that there's a lot going on. So it's not like I've forgotten. It's just with the way things are going on, I mean, it's crazy all over. But my heart and my prayers still go out to the people in Lahaina. But when doing a lot of my videos, I will come across content from Hustle, and he definitely goes deep into finding information and down that rabbit hole. Okay, so the video that I put out last night was showing about how illegals are coming into the country, and a lot of my videos I always talk about how a lot of these states are bringing in all these illegals, and a lot of people are noticing that there's something nefarious going on, not only with the crime that's being committed, but also with elections. Okay, I mentioned quite a few times about how Eric Adams wanted, or I don't know if he was able to pass it or he's still wanting to pass it, to have 800,000 non-citizens in New York be able to vote. Okay. I also made a video a couple of weeks ago, if anybody remembers, for the DMV, I think it was, where they have like this role where people sign up so they can get their driver's license, so they can have ID in order to be eligible to vote, and they're noticing, I mean, discrepancies in the tens of thousands, meaning people that are registering to vote, but they are not the people that they claim to be. So, in other words, illegal votes, okay, or people trying to register illegally in order to vote, okay. And if I had to guess, 9 out of 10 times, it's illegal migrants, okay, that are doing this. So, fast forward to 3 days ago, actually, because this video came out 3 days ago that Hustle put out. And he has broken it down to the point that when you keep hearing the mainstream media talk about, oh, that Harris and Trump are neck and neck in Michigan or Wisconsin or Minnesota or North Carolina, they're not neck and neck. Okay, and Kamala Harris definitely is not ahead, even though that's what the mainstream media is saying. Okay, because you're going to find out some information now of how many illegal votes are being found in these states, which they're supposed to be, except for North Carolina, but like Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, they're supposed to be battleground states. Okay, they're supposed to be key swing states. And you're going to be very surprised on the information that Hustle has uncovered. Okay, so I'm going to do a reaction to his video, and put my thoughts into it, because this is something that a lot of people need to understand. And the reason why I say that is for a few things, but one of the reasons, a lot of you guys that are on my channel, you guys leaving messages, you guys are from Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Chicago, California, New York, and you guys are on the ground. You guys tell me the things that you see, okay, even from Ohio. So for anybody to come out and try to come against like me or you guys or Hustle, whatever, saying that, oh no, this information, is disinformation. No, it's just straight up BS that they're trying to push. Plain and simple. Okay. And the more people know now of what's going on, especially if you're in any of these states. That's why I always said that people need to keep their eyes and ears open, especially around like drop boxes, and when election day comes, wherever there's, voting machines, you have to keep an open eye. Okay? And if something doesn't look right, if you feel that you need to report it to the proper authorities, then do so. Okay? Because if there's one thing we know, is that the Democrats, they will cheat every single chance they get. Okay? Yes, they will. Trust me. I mean, it's being proven over and over and over again. And their attitude is, don't believe your lying eyes. It's not us. But it just so happens that every single time there's some voting scandal, it's not by 1 or 2 or 10. It's usually by 10,000, 20,000, 100,000. I mean, and it just goes on and on and on. Okay? So before I continue with the video, so you guys can check it out, I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. I'll be leaving a link to this video to Hustle's video in the description, and also a link to Loza Alexander's Gifts and Go campaign. If you guys can help him out in any way or leave words of encouragement and prayer, it's all greatly appreciated. And as one more thing, with all my videos, I have at the end of the videos, if you watch them all the way to the end, I have been leaving end screens for another video to pop up. If you guys can watch it, I've been doing that just to keep all the videos going, and keep the algorithm going. And another thing I found out, that comments and thumbs up really help. So thank you guys so much for all the comments and all the input. Okay, this is what it's all about. There have been some people leaving negative comments, but ignore them. It is what it is. Okay, for every one negative comment I get from some leftists, I'm getting 100, 200 positive comments, and if not comments, I'm getting emails. Okay, so I love you guys. Thank you so much for sticking with the channel. Let's get into this so you guys can see exactly what's going on. Here we go.
On today's video, we're taking an in-depth look into something that mainstream media does not want you to see. Be sure to watch until the very end, as you'll definitely want to see all of this. In an absolutely shocking turn of events, the battleground state of North Carolina has just decided that 10% of its registered voters are ineligible to vote. For context, the state has removed 750,000 names from the voter rolls, including 130,000 dead people and 290,000 registrations that were duplicates, according to this tweet. Now, funny enough, these names have been removed over the course of 20 months, which means they still don't include the 250,000 voters who, according to Republicans, have been registered unlawfully. Yes, you heard that right. In addition to 750,000 fake voters, the Republicans have claimed in a recent lawsuit that there are close to 225,000 registered voters who do not qualify to vote in this highly contested swing state.
225,000 voters, that is way more than enough to win a presidential election. Okay? Never mind the small elections for governor, mayor, whatever the case is, never mind all that. Just for the presidential election, that is more than enough to change it from leading by 1 point to losing by 2.5, 3 points. Okay? And once again, in a state that the Democrats are trying to run, they send tons and tons and tons, thousands of illegals, okay? And you would think that after the 2020 election, that in order to put everybody's head to rest and say, you know what, the election was won fair and square, why, going on 4 years now, are there so many illegal votes in just that one state? Think about that, but let's continue.
Now, even though they've already removed 750,000 registered voters,
Wow.
The State Board of Elections still does not want to admit that there's a problem in the system.
State and national Republicans are suing, trying to get about 225,000 people's names removed from the voter rolls. They say those people registered without providing identifying information required under federal law, such as a driver's license or the last 4 digits of their social security number.
Instead,
And this is why Trump once again is right, that everybody should have a valid U.S. ID, should be an American citizen in order to vote. Something that the Democrats don't want. And they keep using the black and Latino community, okay, as an excuse, saying that if they pass any kind of laws that pertain to voting, that is going to disenfranchise the black and Latino community. That's all bullshit. Okay? I've never met an American African person or an American Latino, okay, that didn't have valid ID. Especially the ones that are born and raised, basically, okay, in America. Maybe one or two that have lost their ID and had to go get their, reapply for it. But to say that they never had a valid ID because the system made it too hard for them, that's BS. But let's continue.
Criticized GOP leaders for filing a lawsuit based on what the board called categorically false allegations about the potential for voter fraud. So we're supposed to believe that in a state of 10 million people, that there was nearly 1 million illegal voters, and you still don't want to believe the possibility that there could be election fraud.
Yep.
Got it. As you can guess, people are not blind, and I totally agree with this person's tweet, which states, when an election outcome can be the difference of only 10,000 or 20,000 votes, and 750,000 get removed due to discrepancies, that's statistically significant.
Yep.
And that's so true. Just consider what happened in 2020. Trump only won the state with a margin of 1.34%. And now we find out that 10 to 15% of the registered voters today are not eligible to vote at all. Look, you have to understand that.
Unbelievable. And this is why I get so upset with so many of these leftist shills that are trying to hype up, everybody on the left by saying that, you know what, we're leading in all the battleground states. Kamala Harris is leading in this state, leading in that state, that she has a chance to, and to me, that was one of the wildest ones, saying that she has a chance to win Florida. And it's like, whoever it is that you think you're implanting in all these states, if you actually think that that's going to work in Florida, you just need to start collecting rocks so you could kick them down the road, because that's never going to happen. Okay? And yet, when people bring up the fact and say, you know what, why don't you just put our heads to rest and let's investigate this? And their answer is, once they win, their answer is why. But when they lose, right away they want to turn over every stone, okay, every rock, to make sure that they got every vote, and they still claim every time they lose that there was election fraud. So what's going on here in just North Carolina alone? It's BS, people, but let's continue.
That people will accept whoever wins with open arms as long as you don't make a fool out of them, and right now that's exactly what's going on. But the situation in North Carolina isn't even that bad. At least they removed most of the illegal voters. In other states, things are much worse. Just look at this. Michigan likely has close to 2 million people in a state of 10 million. However, there will be no purging of our voter roll. We have around 700,000 more registered voters than we have voting age residents. Now, seeing that...
And that's insane. How do you not want to purge the voter rolls if you know for a fact, statistically, that you have more voters than you have people that are eligible to vote? And you have more votes than people that are eligible to vote. I mean, for them to be so just pompous about it and be like, you know what, even with all those stats, we don't find nothing wrong. It's like, what do you mean you don't find nothing wrong? You need to purge your voter rolls and find out what the hell is going on. But once again, Michigan is at play. Wisconsin is at play. Minnesota is at play. And what are all these states? North Carolina, they're all blue states, okay? Or they're run by some deep blue infiltrators that are letting this shit happen. But let's continue.
This straight up sent me down a rabbit hole that seemingly has no end and leads to some very shady places. For instance, let's just take a moment to dissect this claim about Michigan, which is another very important swing state. According to the latest survey, Michigan is home to just about 10 million people. According to the state website, Michigan has nearly 8,418,000 registered voters for the November election. Another credible source says there are 21% 40% of folks under the age of 18 in the state. Now, math might not be my strongest subject, but a little easy calculation tells me that there are approximately 2.1 million people in Michigan who are just not old enough to vote. That means the total number of registered voters cannot be more than 7.9 million. So, even if every citizen who is 18 or older got registered, which is highly unlikely, the state still has nearly 500,000 registered voters who are just unaccounted for. And that is way too many unknowns in a swing state where either of the candidates can just squeak out a win. And
exactly. And this is what people don't understand. They make it seem as if, you know what, especially people on the left, they make it seem as if cheating is okay. As long as we win, it doesn't matter. No, you have no idea what you're doing to this country, what you were doing when you were swinging votes, okay? And you're changing demographics. This is not making the country better. This is making the country worse, okay? And to all you leftists out there, they keep trying to hound everybody by saying that, you know what, you're on the right side of history. Cheating is not being on the right side of history. But let's continue.
Yet no one will talk about it because that would justify the Republican stance that elections can be rigged in our great country. And things don't just stop here. In Wisconsin, where Biden won in 2020 with a margin of just 0.63%, absentee ballot drop boxes are still around, even though Republican votes have been protesting against them since 2020. As a result of this, more than 60 small towns in this swing state have opted out of using these drop boxes. And now that a mayor was seen moving one of these ballot boxes, the entire state situation has become even more controversial. However, the main question that we need to answer is why we are using these ballot boxes in a state where many people simply do not want them. Well, it's happening thanks to a ruling by the Wisconsin Supreme Court that barred most ballot drop boxes 2 years ago. And thanks to this ruling, concerns about the legitimacy of the election have only gone up in a state that was already under heavy scrutiny.
What's unique about this request, though, is it's the only way to get an absentee ballot without having to show an ID. Yet this cycle, for some reason, there are over 200,000 requests and ballots cast under the indefinitely confined ballot status. So it's, I think, a pretty clear sign of some illegal activity.
And this is how, okay, the Democrats stay in power. Because all they got to do is, I mean, the story in 2020, the stories were coming out like there is no tomorrow. I mean, one story in particular of a truck driver who was told in upstate New York, okay, to get rid of a truckload of ballots. I mean, it hit the news and then it disappeared, okay? And in my opinion, if I had to guess, in all honesty, that was coordinated between the Democrats and the Rhino Republicans, okay? Because why is it that so many people can go to a Trump rally in New York, okay, and cheer for him, and yet when the Democrats show up in New York, they get vilified, they get booed, they get cursed at, they don't even want them around. And you mean to tell me that New York keeps winning to stay blue? No. It's only by, in my opinion, by the Democrats keep cheating and getting rid of legit ballots and stuffing the boxes with illegitimate ballots. Okay? I mean, there's even tons of video out there that the mainstream media has been suppressing. But if you bring it up, you're an election denier and you're a traitor to this country, or whatever the case is. But again, like I said, let a Democrat bring that up when they lose, and you got to turn over every rock in order to appease them. But let's continue.
That is, I think, grounds to deny certification to that state.
Moving on, let's now talk about...
Well, did you hear that, what he said? I interrupted him, but listen to what he has to say.
Have only gone up in a state that was already under heavy scrutiny.
What's unique about this request, though, is it's the only way to get an absentee ballot without having to show an ID. Yet this cycle, for some reason, there are over 200,000 requests and ballots cast under the indefinitely confined ballot status. So it's, I think, a pretty clear sign of some illegal activity. That is.
I tell you what, one of the I'm going to cut it off again real quick. One of the best ways that they can find out how many of these ballots are illegal, and in all honesty, because if they're letting these illegal migrants fill out these ballots in order to send them in, all they have to do is follow the paper trail with Latin names on it, okay, and start from there. Because if you know for a fact that the census in your county, in your state, say one thing 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden, especially if you're a blue state, okay, or blue city, that your ballots have doubled or tripled or whatever the case is, and you see a giant influx of Latin American names on it, you can be rest assured that those were illegal aliens, okay, illegal immigrants filling out those ballots and sending them in, which should make them illegitimate no matter what. Okay, there are so many ways to crack down on this, but leave it up to the Democrats, especially when they're in power, to try to clean this up. Like I said, once again, to put everybody's mind at ease, but they won't do it because they know they're going to get caught out there, and all their elections that they have won, all of them will have to be questioned. Without a doubt, they're going to have to be questioned. But listen to what this man has to say.
I think grounds to deny certification to that state.
Moving on.
Look at that. With all those illegal ballots, he says it is grounds to remove that state from certification. And see, this is what a lot of people on the left don't understand. If you're playing this game, you are going to potentially make your state lose. And that is unfair to the people that don't want anything to do with this, regardless if they vote Democrat or Republican. You know, you are playing with people's votes, with their civil rights, okay? Because you want to stay in power, you want people in your office to stay in power, you want to go and sacrifice the whole of the state. I'm telling you, these Democrats, I mean, they're just up to some demonic, diabolical shit, man. But let's continue.
Let's now talk about Oregon, where a DMV data error registered 1,259 non-citizens to vote, and 9 of them even ended up voting. Now, this might not seem like a big deal, but you gotta understand, this is a very big blow to Democrats who have been adamant that there is absolutely no way for non-citizens to vote. Well, it turns out they can, as long as the system is not good enough to stop them. Now, according to state officials, the 306 non-citizens registered to vote had presented foreign passports that were marked as U.S. passports.
Wow.
The other 953 people who were wrongly registered to vote had presented foreign birth certificates as proof of ID. Now, what's really surprising...
Name another country where Americans could go and do that. Only in America, okay, has it become possible for a party to be so damn corrupt, okay, to let this happen. I'm telling you, whoever is behind this, Democrat, right, or Republican, it doesn't matter. Whoever is behind this, okay, should be tried for treason, plain and simple. Especially if you're trying to get people that are from another country, okay, to use their credentials from another country as proof of ID to vote in this election. Only in America. Americans cannot go to any country on the planet and vote. Never mind vote in a presidential election. This is horrible, but let's continue.
Is that no one would have realized that this was happening if a nonprofit hadn't filed a complaint about it.
The media reported an audit occurred because of the questions raised by a third-party organization.
As you can see, there's some glaring flaws in the system, and we've only scratched the surface here. We're going to explain all the ways elections can be stolen in an upcoming video, so be sure to stay tuned. For now, let's take a look at another huge scandal coming out of the great city of New York, whose mayor was just indicted for corruption after a federal investigation making Mr. Eric Adams the first sitting mayor of New York who has been officially charged for federal crimes.
Yep.
Now, the list of alleged offenses committed by the mayor is very long, and I think we should let the U.S. attorney tell us what crimes were allegedly committed by Mayor Adams.
In which he solicited and knowingly accepted illegal campaign contributions from foreign donors and corporations.
Yeah.
As we allege, Mayor Adams took these contributions even though he knew they were illegal. And even though he knew these contributions were attempts by a Turkish government official and Turkish businessmen to buy influence with him. We also allege that the mayor sought and accepted well over $100,000 and luxury travel benefits from some of the same foreign actors who arranged many of the illegal campaign contributions. These benefits included free international business class flights and opulent hotel rooms in foreign cities.
As you heard, the mayor not only accepted funds from the Turkish government, but also received benefits such as free stays in 5-star hotels and resorts and free travel via Turkish Airlines.
We just listed all out here. You see the year, 2016, 2017, 2017, 2018, 2019, the destination, India all the way to Ghana, the benefits, the free upgrades or free tickets altogether, the hotel stays, and the value. And if you just sum up all the dollar amounts here, you get to more than $100,000. And of course, as I said before, every single trip that we list here was undisclosed.
Now, the prominent Democrat has been in trouble before. He was accused of holding 14 meetings in a month in an Italian restaurant which is owned by 2 convicted felons. Wow. He was also criticized for employing his younger brother Bernard as the head of his security detail, but he was able to weather all these storms thanks to his image of being a progressive Democrat. The mayor has responded by saying that his tough stance on illegal immigration has made him a target, but he's going to fight these false allegations raised by his political opponent.
You know, Eric Adams has nothing to say, and I did a video on this also, in case it sounds like it's being repeated. But, you know, when Eric Adams came in, I mean, he started out with controversy. Okay, even one of his earlier videos, where somebody was recording him when he was still in the police force, the way he was referring to white cops as crackers. Okay, and it's like, you know, he used a racial slur, and yet they still got him in. There was no call about him being a racist, nothing like that. Okay, Donald Trump has never used a racial slur, and yet he's being deemed a racist, a fascist. Even people on the right in the MAGA movement, like me and all that, people are being, you know, I can't speak for everybody else. I know I don't use any racial slurs, but I am looked at as a racist, as a fascist. But yet, you have a mayor who has used derogatory words against other people, okay, and cops at that. He was supposed to be a cop, okay, and it's like, no, there's no controversy there. It's fine. He can deal with it. He can do it. Don't worry about it. He's well within his rights. Why? Because he's black? You know? But had it been somebody trying to get his position, trying to be mayor, okay, trying to basically clean the voter rolls, that would be considered racist. Eric Adams is trying to dirty the voter rolls. That's, you know, that's not being anti-American. He uses racial slurs. That's not being racist. I'm telling you, the Democrats, the way they think, okay, I mean, they definitely deserve to be on their own planet, because I cannot see the civilization of that planet lasting long. It's just the way they do things is like I always, you know, like I've been saying it ever since I heard it from that one person on Joe Rogan, that the Democrat Party is the party of death. Everything they touch just turns to crap, and it just goes down the tubes to get destroyed. But let's continue.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false,
because you say so,
on lies.
Right.
But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target. And a target I became. I would fight.
Yeah, he became a target, and it wasn't because they're going after him now. He's been a target from the beginning because of what he's done to New York. Between Bill de Blasio, him, and Kathy Hochul, New York has turned into a war zone. Okay, back in 2019, when I was speaking to my boys back home in New York when I was cold, one of my boys in particular came on and said, man, New York is like the wild, wild west. You would never recognize it from the time you left. It is getting crazy. And that was in 2019. Never mind nearly 5 years later. But let's continue.
These injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit. If I'm charged, I know I'm innocent. I will request an immediate trials so the New Yorkers can hear the truth. I have been facing these lies for months.
Right.
Since I began to speak out for all of you.
For years.
And their investigation started. yet the city has continued to improve. Make no mistake,
Right.
you elected me to lead this city, and lead it I will.
Yeah. Down the damn drain. That's where you're leading it. Okay? And don't make it seem as if, oh, it's because of your stance on illegal immigration, because if you really wanted to make a stance, you would get together with Kathy Hochul and say, you know what? We need to abolish the sanctuary city status and start rounding people up and send them back, but they won't. Okay, he's over here talking about everything you hear is going to be a lie. Everything that's coming out of his mouth is a damn lie. Everything he's ever said has been a damn lie. He has let New York go down the tubes.
I humbly ask for your prayers and your patience as we see this through. God bless you.
What's really interesting here is that President Donald Trump predicted this would happen. Yes, Trump said he knew this was going to happen because the mayor did not agree with the Democrats' immigration policy.
Because that's what we have. We have people that use the Justice Department and the FBI at levels that have never been seen before. So I wish him luck. I don't know anything about what he did, but I told a lot of people right over there, that group was saying, you know, sir, you were right about that. And I said, he will be indicted.
We don't know what's going to happen to the mayor, but it's very suspicious that the only major Democrat who opposed illegal immigration is getting indicted just before his re-election. I guess that's the price you pay for stating facts. That's going to do it for...
I'll leave it at that. If he opposed illegal immigration, why didn't he put his foot down? Why did he keep giving more and more to the illegals with all the debit cards? Why hasn't he listened to the constituents in New York? Why has he allocated so much money in the billions to coddle to them? Why has he let Kathy Hochul, whoever it is, tie the hands of the police department? Why has he let all the riots happen? Why does he let all these illegals roam the city, do whatever they want, and not crack down on them? Okay? And yet he's saying that he has it under control. This is the way I see it. If all that is true, that he really is trying to fight, and he knows that he's getting it from all sides, then he definitely needs to leave, because there is nothing he can do. And he knows there's nothing he can do. Okay? So on Eric Adams, I'm calling BS. Okay? I think he's trying to save himself, because there's a lot more behind in his past that will be coming out. Okay? The only thing is that, like I said before, the Democrats, they eat themselves. They'll use you till they're ready to get rid of you. And that's what they're doing. Okay? He turned on them once just to save his own hide, and now it's coming back to haunt them and bite them in the ass, and it doesn't matter whether he's stuck with them or not. It's always been a bad situation from the beginning. Plain and simple. Okay? Plain and simple. From Cuomo to Kathy Hochul, Chuck Schumer, Eric Adams, Bill de Blasio, you name it. I mean, they're all there. Okay? And people keep saying, we don't want you no more. And you would think that, you know, they would listen since they care so much, okay? And say, well, you know what, let me step down. But no. He wanted 800,000 illegals to be able to register to vote in New York. And then come out and say, well, it's not for presidential elections. They should not have a say-so voting for anything. Until they get their citizenship, they should not be able to vote for schools, for religious institutions, for community services, for nothing. People say, well, they pay tax. It doesn't matter. Until you are 100% an American, you should not have a say-so. You need to prove your citizenship. You need to prove your allegiance to America. And that goes for your community, your neighborhood, your state, and your country. And if you can't do none of that, but wave the flag to your country, okay, while still bitching and moaning, saying that you want all kinds of incentives, you're not an American. You don't belong here. You don't have the right to vote. But leave it up to the Democrats, okay, to flood these blue states and blue cities, and the voter rolls are not purged the right way. The way I see it, every election, as soon as the election is over, those rolls should be purged. Those voter rolls should be purged. As soon as the election's over and they've picked somebody, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, It needs to be purged. Okay? Like right away. So like that they'll know within a month or two and say, wait a minute, since we just purged all this and those votes already went in, then that means that, you know what, this can flip an election and make them go back and say, you are rightly not the person that won. But they let it go on and on and on and leave it up to people that run the blue states, okay? They have the judges, the attorney generals, their Supreme Courts, whatever it is in their state, and it's all run by the left. You're never going to get any headway. And this is where people suffer. Not to mention that the Democrats want to do away with the Electoral College. Okay? And there are some states that are on board with that. And it's like the Electoral College was put there in place by the Founding Fathers for a reason. You might want to do some research and find out what that reason is. Okay? Because there's one thing I notice about the left. They like to do things that feel good, like knee-jerk reactions, without realizing the long-term consequences of how it could turn around and come back at them. But they don't care about that, because all they're going to do is every single day, every single time, they're just going to find ways to keep trying to beat the systems like the damn crooks that they are. Plain and simple, like the crooks that they are. By hook or by crook, they're going to try to obtain it. They're going to try to obtain it. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. If you're new to the channel, subscribe if you like the content. Check out the rest of my content. Don't forget the end screen videos that I put on. Click on those. Check them out again. You guys have been great. It's been helping the algorithm. I just want to see the channel grow. Trying to get to my 1 million hardcore patriotic Americans on my channel. That'd be great. So if you got family and friends, let them know, okay, about the channel. Also, once again, if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description. I'm going to leave a link for Loza Alexander's Gifts and Go campaign, if you guys can help him in any way. And also, I'll leave a link to this video for Hustle. Go check out his content. He does great video work. I mean, he gets down and dirty. He goes in depth. Like you heard him say, he goes down the rabbit hole and he comes up with some stuff that, as a matter of fact, when he was doing videos on Hawaii and Lahaina, there's a video that he put out. They actually, supposedly he says they actually approached him, and he didn't do a video for he didn't do any content for, I think it was a month or something like that. And then he brought his comeback video saying that he was not going to be silenced. Okay, and here he is. He's back again. So go check him out. Show him some love. He has some really, really, really good content that all you true American patriots should check out. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Keep praying for this country. Pray for your enemies. Pray for Donald Trump. And don't forget to get out there and vote. Peace.